Hi, parents and students. Today is Thursday, August 27th, and this is our overview of what we went over today. Our attendance we completed in 4 minutes again. They are getting super quick with muting and unmuting. I had 3 students share their about me, and then we moved on to the character analysis of Mr. Hartwell. That could be found in week 2, 3rd grade language arts. I'm also going to go over each page within the week 2 language arts, just so you know what your student needs to complete. So they should have already completed the first day jitters story map. They should have completed this first page, a story about Josh. For homework, they were to complete this story about the piano lesson with writing the character and setting on the side and filling it in. This sheet we just added within our packet. It is optional. It's not mandatory. And then here is our analysis of Sarah. If you missed this and you're missing something, go to the video from yesterday and pause on the character analysis of Sarah. But today, we completed Mr. Hartwell. So I am going to use my all right. So in the story of Mr. Hartwell, we went through each page of where he was speaking. The first page. Sarah, dear, time to get out of bed, Mr. Hartwell said, poking his head through the bedroom door. You don't want to miss the first day at your new school, do you? So we talked about what is he doing? Well, poking is a verb. That's why we're underlining his head through the door. And he was telling her, Sarah, it's time to get out of bed and that you don't want to miss the first day of school. Well, what type of character does he have? If this is what he's doing, this is what he's saying. Well, he's caring. He's caring. He is trying to help her get out of bed. Now that we know in the end it's really the husband, he's helping his wife get out of bed and get to school. I'm not going, said Sarah and pulled the covers over her head. Of course you're going, honey, said Mr. Hartwell as he walked over to the window and snapped up the shade. So again, he snapped up the shade. And then we did that for each page. We talked about what he was saying and doing. For another one, he is making her lunch and breakfast. So that also shows he's kind. So we just talked about his actions and what he says to figure out his character, what he's thinking or maybe feeling. And the students helped me come up with caring, positive, and then I helped towards encouraging and impatient, and then nice. And then I gave him a sentence frame, and we discussed Mr. Hartwell is nice and caring. That's what they chose. And I know this because he helped her get ready and drove her to school. And I told him we could write a whole paragraph of, well, how did he help her get ready? Well, we could say, he got her out of bed when she didn't want to. He was using encouraging words to help her be excited for her first day of school. He made her breakfast. He made her lunch. So there's a lot of more elaboration within the sentence, but we kept it short and sweet. So this is a good time to pause if you need any further help or miss something that you wrote down. Okay. Next, we moved on to our grammar, and this was so fun. And I will actually share my screen, and you will have to pause. So I'm going to go fairly quickly and pause your video to have your student follow along. So there is a yellow sheet, and we cut it. It's from their week 2. And it is not stapled to anything, so it's a loose paper. And we have a command. We talked about how it has a period as well as statement has a period. But a command is telling you to do something. So it's either, I like green apples, or give me that green apple. They're both with a period, but one is telling someone to do something, and one is just making a statement, saying something that they like. And then we have our question mark and our exclamation mark. So I showed this slide I made, and they had to hold up which punctuation would end the sentence. So let me find that. Now I need to go all the way back. So punctuation game. Hold up the correct punctuation card for the following sentences. This was a command, so hint, listen to the tone of my voice. I love going to the beach during the summer. Stop taking my clothes and wear your own clothes. Sea otters use rocks as tools. Did you see the new Spider-Man movie? I can't believe I ran 10 miles! Clean your room before you play outside. Did you clean your room? Clean your room now. Pepperoni pizza is the best type of pizza. Get out a pencil. Can you get out a pencil? I told you 100 times to get out your pencil. Raise your hand if you are having fun. Do you like third grade? So we went over, we went over each of those, and they held it up, and we discussed about my tone of voice and what makes it a command and a statement. We then went into breakout rooms. And the students in their week 2 third grade grammar in their breakout rooms completed, oh, you can't see it. Completed this page on punctuation. Okay? So I'll leave it there if you need help. So have your child do it. And then for homework is the next page. So the next page is homework. And then we did the emoji paragraph. So the emoji paragraph is found in week 1 third grade language arts. So I'll also show you what should be complete in week 1. We're going to eventually use these emojis, but they don't need to have writing on it. I was just showing them explanations. This was, again, just a tool that we used. And then this should be complete, because now we are moving on to the paragraph. They are using this graphic organizer to write their paragraph. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Yesterday, they should have written their topic sentence and underlined it in green right here. Then they need a transition word. I had them all just put first, since we're just starting out. First what? First, I felt nervous, but they need to put their emotion. So first I felt nervous, and it's yellow because that's the detail. Then they go into their elaboration, which is red right here. I talked about online teaching and if it wouldn't work. So I put because of teaching online, and I underlined it red. It's okay. It doesn't need to be two separate sentences. Here is where some students got confused. They do not need an additional sentence for elaboration. I chose to, just to make it a little more spunky. So I put, what if the technology doesn't work? And I underlined that in red. They didn't need to. I also had them write next, or they could have written second, some type of transition word. Next, I felt patient. That is right here. I felt patient. They're going to write their second emotion. And over on this side, even though I wrote two separate ideas, I only stuck with this one. They do not need to write everything in their graphic organizer. Next, I felt patient, which was my detail, so it's yellow, and then my elaboration, because the technology wasn't working. So I underlined that in red, because that's what I'm elaborating on as far as why I felt patient. This is what they just need to finish tonight. They need their topic sentence. Well, their topic sentence, their first detail and their first elaboration was last night's homework. Tonight is just their second emotion and their second elaboration. We moved on to similes. So comparing two things using like or as. So I am as fast as a cheetah, or I feel as light as a feather. So I showed a video, and I will put the video link in the comment section. And then this led us to our Apple poem. That is within their week 2, third grade writing. Yesterday, I started in class with them filling out the adjectives, nouns, apple verbs, and elaborate on them, and they were supposed to finish it at home. This was more of a practice to identify adjectives, nouns, and verbs, but it also kind of helps them with ideas to write their Apple poem, but they do not need to use this for the Apple poem. Turn it. This is what we completed today. So all these came from students. I started with my apple is as red as, and I got great strawberries. Some said rose. So it's just whatever comes to your mind as far as something that's red. You're comparing two things. My apple is as sour as candy. My apple is as sweet as pie. My apple is as crunchy as chips. My apple is perfect like my sister. So this, the students do not need to copy me. They can come up with their own. Their homework is to make sure this is finished and to color their apple, because I am going to put this and this on a paper side by side just to present it and put it up on the board. For math today, I showed a place value kind of greater than less than video on Number Rocks, and I will post that link in the chat. But what we discussed was what is behind me. So we talked about greater than sign and a less than sign. The greater, the opening, which is our alligator, always eats the bigger number and points to the least number, the number with the less value. What is kind of important that helps is you go to the reason why we focused, sorry, I was wondering why it was so small. The reason why we focused on place value is it is important for the students to understand that this 1 does not have the same value as this 5. This is 500, and this is just a single 1 digit. So you go from left to right. So compare. Since this is the greatest value, the hundreds place, you're going to look at the hundreds place first. So here's a 5 and a 2 for 200. Well, what number's greater, 5 or 2? 500 or 200? 5 is. So already you don't need to compare any other numbers. And the alligator is going to eat the greater number. When you move from left to right, you say 521 is greater than, because it's open, than 289. If it was 61 and 20 or 5, right? So look at the tens value first, because that is the greatest value in this number, the greatest place value. The 6 represents 60, the 8 represents 80. Well, what number is greater? 85. So the alligator is going to eat 85 and point to the least greatest number. So it's like reading a book. You go from left to right. So you're going to say 61. Since the point comes first, it's less than 85. And then in their packet, week 2, 3rd grade math, it is the Hungry Alligators. So if you want to copy that down, we did this together. Their homework is just to finish the last 3. I feel like this is a more challenging concept, so tomorrow we are going to work on this. This is not homework, just completing right here. They also need to read 30 minutes and complete their portrait in their week 1 activities. A lot of students have finished it already, but I need them to complete this before next pickup. Alrighty, thank you so much.